I never thought I'd find myself here, typing this out on a relationship advice subreddit, but I guess this is what my life has come to. My name is Mike, and up until recently, I thought I had a pretty good life. I'm 34, married for 8 years to my wife, Lisa. We have a 6-year-old daughter, Emma, and what I thought was a rock-solid marriage. But life has a way of throwing curveballs, and sometimes the people you trust the most can hurt you in ways you never imagined. Lisa and I met in college. She was this vibrant, outgoing girl with a smile that could light up a room. We hit it off instantly, and after dating for a couple of years, we got married. I was head over heels in love with her, and I believed she felt the same way. We bought a house, had Emma, and settled into what I thought was a happy routine. Sure, we had our ups and downs like any couple, but I never doubted her loyalty or our commitment to each other. Things started to change about 6 months ago. Lisa became more distant, always glued to her phone, and would often go out with her girlfriends more frequently. I didn't think much of it at first. I figured she needed her space and time to unwind. But then she started coming home late, smelling like alcohol, and with excuses that didn't quite add up. My gut told me something was off, but I didn't want to be that paranoid husband who accuses his wife without solid proof. Enter my best friend, Josh. We've known each other since high school, and he's always had my back. He was the one who first voiced his concerns about Lisa's behavior. "Mike, I don't want to cause any trouble, but have you noticed how Lisa's been acting lately?" He asked me one night over beers. His words planted a seed of doubt in my mind that I couldn't shake off. One night, about 2 months ago, Josh and I were having drinks at our favorite bar when he brought it up again. "Mike, I saw Lisa at a restaurant last night. She wasn't with her girlfriends. She was with some guy." My heart sank. Josh showed me a picture he had discreetly taken on his phone. There was Lisa, laughing and holding hands with some guy I didn't recognize. I felt a surge of anger and betrayal, but I needed more proof before I confronted her. So I started paying closer attention. Lisa's late nights, her secretive phone calls, the way she was always texting and then quickly putting her phone away when I walked into the room. It all started to make sense. I decided to check her phone one night while she was in the shower. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through her messages. And there it was. Explicit texts, plans to meet up, even photos. The guy's name was David. My blood was boiling, but I needed to keep my cool. I took screenshots of everything and sent them to my phone. I felt sick to my stomach. This was the woman I loved, the mother of my child, and she was betraying me in the worst possible way. I wanted to confront her right then and there, but I knew I needed to have a plan. I called Josh the next day and told him everything. He was furious on my behalf and offered to help me get to the bottom of this. We decided to follow her the next time she went out. Sure enough, a week later, she said she was going out with her girlfriends again. Josh and I tailed her to a hotel where she met up with David. I felt like my world was crashing down around me, but seeing them together only fueled my resolve. When she came home that night, I was waiting for her. She looked surprised to see me up so late. "Hey babe, you're still up?" she asked casually, but I could see the guilt in her eyes. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "Who the hell is David?" I demanded. Her face went pale and she stammered, "What are you talking about?" I showed her the screenshots. She tried to deny it at first, then started crying and apologizing, saying it was a mistake and she never meant to hurt me. But I was too far gone. The betrayal cut too deep. In a fit of rage, I lost control and slapped her. It wasn't something I'm proud of, and I regret it every day. But at that moment, I was blinded by anger and pain. I yelled at her to pack her things and get out. She left that night, and I haven't seen her since. Now I'm trying to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. Emma keeps asking where her mommy is, and I don't know how to explain it to her. I'm filled with a mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. I keep replaying everything in my head, wondering how I missed the signs and what I could have done differently. Josh has been a rock through all this, helping me stay strong for Emma, but it's been an uphill battle. I know I need to move on, but it's easier said than done. Part of me wants to try and work things out for Emma's sake, but the other part of me can't get past the betrayal. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know that I need to focus on healing and being the best father I can be for my daughter. To anyone reading this, if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. And don't be afraid to lean on your friends for support. They might see things you don't and can help you through the toughest times. After Lisa left that night, my mind was a whirlwind of emotions. I couldn't sleep. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty side where she used to sleep. The anger and betrayal were still fresh, and I kept thinking about how our lives had come to this. I had to stay strong for Emma, but every time I looked at her innocent face, I felt like I was drowning in guilt and sorrow. The next morning I called in sick to work. I just couldn't face the world, not yet. Emma was confused and kept asking when Mommy would be back. I told her that Mommy needed some time away and that everything would be okay. It was the hardest lie I ever had to tell. How do you explain adult problems to a 6-year-old? I felt like I was failing her, just like I felt Lisa had failed me. Josh came over later that day. He brought coffee and donuts, trying to keep things light, but I could see the worry etched on his face. "Mike, how are you holding up?" he asked gently. I shrugged, not trusting myself to speak without breaking down. He nodded, understanding. "You did the right thing, man. She betrayed you, and you had every right to be angry. But you need to focus on yourself and Emma now." Josh's support was a lifeline. He helped me get through the next few days, keeping me busy and distracted. We went to the park with Emma, played games, and tried to keep some semblance of normalcy. But at night, when the house was quiet, the pain would come rushing back. I felt like I was living in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. A week after Lisa left, I received a call from her. She wanted to talk, to explain herself. I didn't want to hear it, but I knew I had to face her eventually. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop, a neutral place where things hopefully wouldn't get too heated. Seeing her again was like a punch to the gut. She looked different, worn out and regretful, but I couldn't let that sway me. I needed answers. "Mike, I'm so sorry for everything," she began, her voice trembling. "I never wanted to hurt you. It just happened." I clenched my fists under the table, trying to keep my anger in check. "How long, Lisa? How long have you been seeing him?" She looked down, unable to meet my eyes. "About 6 months," she whispered. "It started out as just a friendship, but then things got out of hand." Her words felt like knives. 6 months of lies, of pretending everything was fine while she was off with another man. "Why, Lisa? Why did you do this to us? To Emma?" She started crying, big fat tears rolling down her cheeks. "I don't know, Mike. I was feeling lonely and disconnected. You were always working, and I felt like we were drifting apart. David was there, and he made me feel wanted." I felt a mix of anger and disbelief. "So, instead of talking to me, you decided to have an affair? Do you have any idea what this has done to me, to our family?" She reached out to touch my hand, but I pulled back. "I know I've messed up, Mike. I want to make it right. Please give me another chance." I took a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. "Lisa, I don't know if I can ever trust you again. What you did, it broke something inside me. I need time to think." She nodded, tears still streaming down her face. "I understand. I'll give you all the time you need, but please let me see Emma. She needs her mother." We agreed on a temporary arrangement where she could visit Emma at Josh's place, under his supervision. It wasn't ideal, but I needed to protect Emma and myself while figuring things out. Over the next few weeks I threw myself into work, trying to distract myself from the pain. But every time I saw Lisa's name pop up on my phone, or when Emma asked about her, the wound would reopen. Josh continued to be my rock. He helped with Emma, offered a listening ear, and even suggested I see a therapist. At first I was reluctant. Therapy felt like admitting defeat, like I couldn't handle my own problems. But after a few sleepless nights and a near breakdown at work, I decided to give it a try. Talking to a therapist was one of the best decisions I made. It gave me a safe space to vent, to process my emotions, and to start the healing process. Slowly, I began to understand that Lisa's betrayal wasn't a reflection of my worth, but rather her own issues. It didn't make the pain go away, but it helped me start to see a way forward. One day, while I was at a session, my therapist suggested something that stuck with me. Mike, you need to decide what you want for your future. Holding on to anger and betrayal will only hurt you more in the long run. Whether you choose to forgive Lisa and work on your marriage or move on, you need to do it for your own peace of mind. It was a turning point. I realized I had been stuck in a loop of anger and sadness, unable to move forward. I needed to make a decision, not just for myself, but for Emma. I owed it to her to be the best father I could be, and that meant finding a way to heal, whether Lisa was in the picture or not. In the weeks following my confrontation with Lisa, the roller coaster of emotions didn't slow down. Lisa and I kept our interactions civil, especially around Emma, but there was an unspoken tension between us. Each visit she made to see Emma at Josh's place was like reopening a barely healed wound. I couldn't shake off the images of her and David together, the betrayal cutting deeper every time I saw her. Emma seemed to sense the change in our dynamic. She became quieter, more withdrawn. One evening, while tucking her into bed, she looked up at me with those big, innocent eyes and asked, "Daddy, why doesn't Mommy come home anymore?" It took everything in me not to break down right there. I hugged her tight and whispered, "Mommy and Daddy are just figuring some things out, sweetie. But we both love you very much." Lisa had been persistent in wanting to talk more about our relationship, but I kept her at arm's length. I wasn't ready to face the possibility of reconciliation or divorce. I needed to process everything, to understand what I truly wanted. My therapy sessions were helping, but I still felt like I was navigating through a fog. One Saturday, Josh and I decided to take Emma to the zoo. It was a welcome distraction, seeing her eyes light up at the sight of the animals. We were having a good time until I saw Lisa walking towards us, holding hands with David. My heart stopped, and a wave of anger surged through me. How could she be so brazen, bringing him around Emma like that? Josh noticed them too, and quickly moved to intercept Lisa before she got too close. I could see the tension in his body as he spoke to her, trying to keep things calm for Emma's sake. But I wasn't in the mood for calm. I marched over, my fists clenched, and confronted them. "What the hell are you doing here with him?" I spat, barely keeping my voice down. Lisa looked taken aback, guilt and frustration mingling on her face. "Mike, I'm sorry. This wasn't planned. We just ran into you guys." David, for his part, looked uncomfortable and tried to back away. But I wasn't going to let it go. "Stay away from my daughter," I growled at him, feeling the urge to punch him square in the face. Josh stepped in, placing a firm hand on my shoulder. "Mike, let's go. This isn't the place for this." His words cut through my anger, reminding me that Emma was watching. I took a deep breath, glaring at Lisa one last time before turning back to Emma, who was clutching Josh's hand, looking scared and confused. We left the zoo soon after, the outing ruined by the encounter. On the way home, Emma sat quietly in the back seat, and I felt like the worst father in the world. Josh tried to lighten the mood, but the damage was done. When we got home, I put Emma to bed and sat down with Josh, my emotions still raw. "I can't do this, Josh. I can't keep pretending everything's okay when it's not. Seeing her with him, it's too much." Josh nodded, understanding in his eyes. "I get it, man, but you need to make a decision. This limbo isn't good for you or Emma. What do you want to do?" His words echoed what my therapist had been saying. It was time to make a choice. I spent the next few days deep in thought, weighing my options. The idea of forgiving Lisa and working on our marriage felt impossible, but so did the idea of a future without her. We had built a life together, and the thought of tearing it apart was terrifying. Finally, I called Lisa and asked her to meet me at a park near our house. It was a place we used to go when we were dating, where we had shared many happy memories. I thought it might help us have a calm, honest conversation. When she arrived, I could see the apprehension on her face. We sat on a bench, the silence between us heavy. "Lisa, we need to talk about our future," I began, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. She nodded, tears already welling up in her eyes. "I know, Mike. I've been thinking a lot too. I want to make things right, to fix what I broke. Her words were sincere, but they didn't change the facts. I don't know if I can ever trust you again, I said, my voice breaking. What you did, it shattered me. I can't just forget that. She reached out and took my hand, her touch both familiar and foreign. I understand, and I don't expect you to forgive me overnight. But I love you, Mike. I want to try. For us, for Emma. We talked for hours, hashing out our feelings, our fears, and our hopes. By the end of it, I was emotionally drained, but I felt a sense of clarity. I think we need to separate for a while, I finally said. Give each other space to heal and figure out what we really want. I'm not saying it's over, but we need time apart. Lisa nodded, tears streaming down her face. If that's what you need, I'll respect it. I'll do whatever it takes to make things right. We agreed on a trial separation, and Lisa would stay with a friend while we sorted things out. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it felt like a step in the right direction. The days that followed were hard. Emma missed her mom, and I struggled with the loneliness and the what-ifs. But I also felt a strange sense of relief. The constant tension was gone, replaced by a tentative hope that maybe, just maybe, we could find a way forward. Whether that meant rebuilding our marriage or moving on separately, I didn't know. But for the first time in months, I felt like I was taking control of my life again. The separation was harder than I anticipated. Every morning I woke up, the first thing I noticed was the emptiness of the house. The absence of Lisa's presence was a constant reminder of the turmoil in my life. Emma's innocent questions about when her mom would come home twisted the knife further. Each day, I had to find the strength to be the strong parent she needed, even though I felt anything but strong. Lisa and I agreed on a shared custody arrangement for Emma. We both wanted her to have stability and as normal a life as possible under the circumstances. Lisa stayed at her friend Molly's place, and I had Emma during the weekdays, with Lisa taking her on weekends. It wasn't ideal, but it gave both of us time to process and figure out our next steps. During one of our drop-offs, Lisa suggested we attend couples therapy. Mike, I know things are incredibly strained between us, but maybe a therapist can help us communicate better. Even if we don't get back together, we need to find a way to co-parent without all this anger and pain. I was hesitant. The thought of sitting in a room and airing out all our grievances seemed daunting. But deep down, I knew she was right. We needed to find a way to coexist for Emma's sake, and maybe, just maybe, a therapist could help us sort through the wreckage of our relationship. I agreed, and we set up our first session for the following week. Our therapist, Dr. Harper, was a calm, middle-aged woman with a reassuring presence. She had a way of making you feel safe, which was exactly what we needed. In our first session, she asked us to talk about what had brought us to this point. Lisa and I took turns sharing our perspectives, the pain and betrayal evident in every word. Mike, it sounds like you felt completely blindsided by Lisa's actions. Is that accurate? Dr. Harper asked gently. I nodded, the anger bubbling up again. Yes, I did. I thought we were happy, or at least that we had a solid foundation. But she destroyed that with her lies and betrayal. Lisa looked down, tears in her eyes. I know I hurt you deeply, Mike. I was selfish and made terrible choices. I wish I could take it all back, but I can't. All I can do is try to make amends and show you that I'm committed to making things right. Dr. Harper guided us through several sessions, helping us unpack our emotions and find ways to communicate without anger. It was a slow, painful process, but gradually we started to understand each other better. I realized that Lisa had been feeling neglected and lonely, though it didn't excuse her actions. She understood how deeply her betrayal had cut me, and she was genuinely remorseful. One night after a particularly intense session, I sat alone in the living room, thinking about everything that had happened. I knew I couldn't continue living in a state of anger and bitterness. It was eating me up inside and affecting my ability to be a good father to Emma. I needed to find a way to forgive, not necessarily for Lisa's sake, but for mine. The next time we met with Dr. Harper, I voiced my thoughts. Lisa, I don't know if we can ever go back to what we were, but I want to try to forgive you. Not because I condone what you did, but because I need to let go of this anger. It's destroying me, and I can't live like this anymore. Lisa nodded, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Mike. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm grateful for it. I promise I'll do everything I can to rebuild your trust no matter how long it takes. As weeks turned into months, we slowly began to find a new normal. We still had a long way to go, but there were moments of genuine connection and understanding. We started to spend more time together as a family, taking Emma to the park, having dinner together, and even laughing occasionally. These small steps gave me hope that we could find a way to move forward, whether together or apart. One evening, as I was tucking Emma into bed, she looked up at me with her big, innocent eyes and asked, "Daddy, are you and Mommy friends again?" I smiled and kissed her forehead. "We're working on it, sweetie. We're trying to be the best parents we can be for you." That night, as I lay in bed, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. The road ahead was still uncertain, but I was starting to see the possibility of healing and moving forward. Whether Lisa and I ended up together or not, I knew we were both committed to being there for Emma and giving her the best life possible. The following weekend, Lisa and I took Emma to a fair that had come to town. It was a beautiful day, and seeing Emma's joy as she rode the carousel and played games filled my heart with happiness. Lisa and I shared a quiet moment, watching her run around with other kids. "Thank you, Mike, for giving this a chance," Lisa said softly. "I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm grateful." I nodded, still cautious but hopeful. "Let's just take it one day at a time," I replied. "We owe it to Emma to try our best." The days turned into weeks, and slowly the pain began to dull. There were still tough moments, but we were learning to navigate them together. Dr. Harper helped us create a co-parenting plan that allowed us both to be involved in Emma's life, while also giving us the space we needed to heal individually. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was a start. I began to see glimpses of the woman I had fallen in love with, the one who made me laugh and supported me through thick and thin. But I also saw the person who had betrayed me, and that was something I had to reconcile with. Trust wouldn't come easily, but I was willing to give it a chance for Emma's sake and for my own peace of mind. One evening after Emma had gone to bed, Lisa and I sat on the porch, sipping tea and talking about our day. It felt almost normal, like we were finding our way back to each other. "Mike, I've been thinking," Lisa said hesitantly. "Maybe we should go on a date, start fresh, see if we can rebuild what we had." The idea scared me, but it also excited me. I nodded slowly. "Yeah, maybe we should. Let's take it slow, see where it goes." We set a date for the following Friday. As the day approached, I felt a mix of nerves and anticipation. It had been so long since we had gone out together, just the two of us. When the night finally came, we went to a small, cozy restaurant that we used to frequent in our early years together. The familiarity was comforting, and as we talked and laughed over dinner, I felt a glimmer of hope. The date went well, and it marked the beginning of a new chapter for us. We continued with therapy, both individually and as a couple, and gradually the wounds began to heal. We weren't the same people we were before the betrayal, but we were learning to be better versions of ourselves. One day, as I was walking through the park with Emma, she looked up at me and said, "Daddy, I think Mommy and you are happy again." I smiled down at her, feeling a warmth in my heart. "We're working on it, sweetheart. We're working on it." Life was far from perfect, and there were still challenges to face. But for the first time in a long time, I felt like we had a chance to rebuild, to forgive, and to create a better future for ourselves and for Emma. Our date marked a turning point. It wasn't a magical fix, but it was a start. Lisa and I were learning to reconnect, to talk about our feelings and fears openly, and to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. It was a fragile process, like walking on thin ice, but each step felt necessary. We continued our individual therapy sessions, which proved crucial. I had so much anger and hurt to work through, and Lisa needed to understand the depth of her betrayal and its impact. Dr. Harper helped us navigate these turbulent waters, offering insights and strategies for rebuilding our relationship and co-parenting effectively. Emma seemed happier, sensing the positive shift between us. She thrived on the weekends we spent together as a family, and her innocent joy became a source of strength for both Lisa and me. It was a reminder of why we were working so hard to heal. For her, for our family. One evening, while Emma was at a friend's house for a sleepover, Lisa and I sat down to talk. It had been a few months since our separation, and things had been relatively stable. We had settled into a rhythm that worked for both of us and for Emma. "Mike, I've been thinking," Lisa began, her voice tentative. "I know we've come a long way, and I appreciate all the effort you've put into this. I want us to be a family again. I know it won't be easy, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right." I looked at her, seeing the sincerity in her eyes. It was a huge decision, one that would shape our future. "Lisa, I appreciate everything you've done too, but I need to be honest. While we've made progress, I'm still not sure if we can go back to what we were. Trust takes time to rebuild, and I don't want to rush into something we're not ready for." She nodded, a mix of relief and disappointment on her face. "I understand. I just wanted to let you know how I feel. I'm here, and I'm willing to keep working at it no matter how long it takes." We agreed to continue taking things slow, focusing on our healing and on being good parents to Emma. It was a cautious step forward, but it felt right. We didn't need to rush into a decision. We had time to figure things out. In the meantime, I started to rediscover parts of myself that had been buried under the weight of betrayal and anger. I reconnected with old friends, picked up hobbies I had neglected, and even started dating again. It was a strange experience, navigating the world of dating after being married for so long. But it helped me regain a sense of independence and self-worth. Lisa supported my journey, even as it pained her to see me with someone else. We both understood that this time apart was necessary for us to grow as individuals. If we were ever to reunite, it needed to be as two whole, healed people, not as broken halves clinging to a damaged past. One evening, as I was putting Emma to bed, she asked a question that caught me off guard. "Daddy, do you still love Mommy?" Her innocent eyes looked up at me, searching for an answer. I took a deep breath, considering my words carefully. "Emma, I will always love your Mommy. We have a lot of history together and we both love you very much. Sometimes grown-ups need time to figure things out, but that doesn't change how much we care about each other or about you." She seemed satisfied with that answer, snuggling into her blanket. "I love you, Daddy," she said sleepily. "I love you too, sweetheart," I whispered, kissing her forehead. That night I lay in bed thinking about Emma's question. Did I still love Lisa? The answer was complicated. There was a part of me that would always love her, that cherished the good times we had shared and the family we had built. But there was also a part of me that was deeply hurt and struggling to move past the betrayal. As the weeks turned into months, Lisa and I continued to work on ourselves and our relationship. We had ups and downs, moments of progress and moments of doubt. But through it all, we remained committed to being the best parents we could be for Emma. One day, Lisa called me with a proposal. "Mike, I've been thinking a lot about us and our future. I know we've been taking things slow, and I appreciate that. But I think we should try a family vacation, just the three of us, somewhere neutral, to see if we can reconnect on a deeper level." The idea was both exciting and terrifying. A family vacation meant spending extended time together, away from the safety net of our separate lives, but it also offered a chance to see if we could truly rebuild our bond. "Let's do it," I said, feeling a mix of hope and anxiety. "Let's see if we can find our way back to each other." We chose a small cabin by a lake, a place we had visited years ago before Emma was born. It held fond memories, and we hoped it could be a place of healing and new beginnings. As we packed and prepared for the trip, I felt a cautious optimism. This was a chance to see if we could truly move forward as a family. The first day at the cabin was awkward, filled with tentative conversations and polite exchanges. But as the days passed, we started to relax. We went hiking, swam in the lake, and roasted marshmallows by the fire. Emma's laughter echoed through the woods, a reminder of the joy we once shared. One evening, after Emma had gone to bed, Lisa and I sat by the fire, sipping wine and talking about our favorite memories. It was the first time in a long while that we felt truly connected, and it gave me hope that maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other. As we watched the stars twinkle in the night sky, I took Lisa's hand. "I don't know what the future holds," I said softly, "but I want to keep trying. For us, for Emma." She squeezed my hand, tears glistening in her eyes. "Me too, Mike. Me too." The path ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, I felt like we were moving in the right direction. We had a long way to go, but we were willing to take it one step at a time, together, and for now, that was enough. The cabin trip was a tentative success. It wasn't a miraculous fix, but it provided a glimpse of hope. For Emma's sake, and maybe even for our own, Lisa and I began to slowly reconnect. There were still moments of tension and unresolved hurt, but there was also laughter and genuine moments of affection that made the effort seem worthwhile. Returning home from the trip, we fell back into our separate routines, but with a renewed commitment to each other. We continued therapy and made it a point to communicate more openly and honestly. I found myself looking forward to our sessions, where we could talk without the rawness of anger clouding our words. One evening, after Emma had fallen asleep, Lisa and I sat on the couch, discussing our plans for the upcoming holidays. "I think it would be nice to spend Christmas together," Lisa suggested, her voice hopeful. "It would mean a lot to Emma, and it could be a step towards healing." I nodded, considering her words. "I agree, but let's take it slow. We don't have to force anything. Let's just focus on creating good memories for Emma." As Christmas approached, we started to plan our celebration. We decorated the house together, baked cookies, and even went out to pick a Christmas tree. There were moments when I caught myself enjoying the simple, mundane activities we once took for granted. It felt almost normal, almost like old times. On Christmas Eve, we gathered around the tree to exchange gifts. Emma's excitement was contagious, and for a few hours, it felt like all the pain and betrayal had melted away. Lisa and I exchanged small, thoughtful gifts, a sign of our growing connection and efforts to rebuild. That night, after Emma had gone to bed, Lisa and I sat by the fireplace sipping hot cocoa. "Thank you, Mike," she said softly, "for giving us a chance to be a family again." I looked at her, seeing both the woman I fell in love with and the person who had hurt me deeply. "I'm trying, Lisa, I really am, but it's not easy. Trust takes time to rebuild." "I know," she replied, her eyes full of sincerity, "and I'm willing to wait however long it takes. I want to earn your trust back." The holidays passed with a mix of joy and caution. We continued to take small steps forward, building on the fragile foundation we were creating. There were still moments of doubt and pain, but there were also glimmers of hope that kept us moving forward. One evening, as I was scrolling through old photos on my phone, I stumbled upon pictures from our early years together. Our wedding, vacations, Emma's birth moments filled with love and happiness. It reminded me of why I had fallen in love with Lisa in the first place, and why I was fighting so hard to give us another chance. I showed the photos to Lisa, and we spent hours reminiscing about the good times. It was a bittersweet reminder of what we had lost, but also a motivation to rebuild what we could. Our journey was far from over, but we were making progress. The anger and resentment were slowly being replaced by understanding and a desire to move forward. We were learning to forgive not just each other, but ourselves as well. One night, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Lisa turned to me and asked, "Do you think we'll ever be truly happy again?" I thought about her question, the weight of it pressing down on me. I think we can be, but it will take time, patience, and a lot of effort. We need to keep working on ourselves and our relationship. It won't be easy, but I believe it's possible. She smiled, a mixture of hope and determination in her eyes. "I believe it too, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes." As spring approached, we decided to take another step forward. We planned a weekend getaway, just the two of us. It was a chance to reconnect without the distractions of everyday life, and to see if we could reignite the spark that had once defined our relationship. We chose a small bed and breakfast in a quiet, picturesque town. The weekend was filled with long walks, cozy dinners, and deep conversations. It felt like we were rediscovering each other, peeling back the layers of hurt and betrayal to find the love that had brought us together in the first place. One evening, as we sat by the fireplace in our room, Lisa took my hand and looked into my eyes. "Mike, I know I've said this before, but I want you to know how truly sorry I am. I wish I could undo all the pain I've caused, but I promise to spend the rest of my life making it up to you." I squeezed her hand, feeling a mix of emotions. "Lisa, I appreciate your honesty and your efforts. It's going to take time, but I'm willing to keep trying. For us, for Emma, for the future we can still build." That weekend marked a turning point in our relationship. We returned home with a renewed sense of commitment and a deeper understanding of each other. It wasn't a perfect solution, but it was a step in the right direction. Over the next few months, we continued to rebuild our lives together. There were still challenges and moments of doubt, but there was also a growing sense of hope and possibility. We were learning to trust again, to communicate openly, and to find joy in the small moments that defined our everyday lives. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching Emma play in the yard, Lisa turned to me and said, "I love you, Mike. Thank you for giving us another chance." I looked at her, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and hope. "I love you too, Lisa, and I'm glad we're finding our way back to each other." Our journey was far from over, but for the first time in a long while, I felt like we were truly moving forward. We were learning to forgive, to heal, and to love again. And that, more than anything, gave me hope for the future. The weekend getaway had been a much-needed respite and a turning point. However, returning to the routines of daily life brought its own set of challenges. Despite the progress we had made, old wounds would occasionally surface, and moments of doubt and insecurity would creep in. Yet, there was a newfound determination to face these issues head-on, rather than letting them fester. Lisa and I decided to take a more structured approach to rebuilding our relationship. We set aside one evening each week as date night. It was a time dedicated to just the two of us, without distractions. Sometimes we went out for dinner, other times we stayed in and watched a movie. The activities themselves weren't as important as the intention behind them, to reconnect and strengthen our bond. One particularly memorable date night, we decided to revisit the restaurant where we had our first date. Walking through the doors brought back a flood of memories. We laughed, reminisced, and for a few hours, it felt like we were those two young people falling in love all over again. It was moments like these that reminded me why I was willing to fight for our marriage. But not every night was filled with laughter. Some evenings were tough, filled with heavy conversations about trust, forgiveness, and the future. One night, Lisa brought up something that had been weighing on her mind. "Mike, I've been thinking a lot about our past and what led us to this point. I know I've said it before, but I really want to understand why I did what I did and how we can prevent it from happening again." Her honesty was both painful and refreshing. It forced us to confront the deeper issues in our marriage that had contributed to the affair. We talked about the ways we had both neglected our relationship, the lack of communication, and the unmet needs on both sides. It was a difficult conversation, but it was necessary for our healing. Dr. Harper played a crucial role in guiding us through these tough discussions. She helped us develop better communication skills, teaching us to listen without judgment and to express our feelings honestly. It wasn't an easy process, but it was transformative. We started to understand each other on a deeper level, and slowly, the walls between us began to come down. One day, Lisa suggested we take a family trip to the beach. It had been a favorite spot of ours before everything fell apart, and she thought it might help us create new positive memories. I agreed, and we started planning the trip with Emma, who was thrilled at the prospect of building sandcastles and playing in the waves. The beach trip turned out to be a wonderful idea. The sun, the sea, and the simple joy of being together helped us reconnect as a family. We spent our days swimming, playing games, and exploring the coastline. In the evenings, we sat by the bonfire, talking and laughing as the stars twinkled overhead. It was a reminder that despite the pain and betrayal, there was still love and joy to be found in our shared experiences. One evening, as we sat by the bonfire, Emma asleep in her tent, Lisa turned to me with a serious expression. "Mike, I want you to know how much this means to me. Being here with you and Emma, it feels like we're finally moving forward. I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm so grateful for the second chance you've given us." I looked at her, the flickering firelight casting shadows on her face. "Lisa, I appreciate your efforts and your commitment. This hasn't been easy for either of us, but I believe we're on the right path. Let's keep taking it one day at a time." Returning home from the beach, there was a noticeable shift in our dynamic. We were more at ease with each other, more willing to be vulnerable and open. The road ahead was still long and uncertain, but we were navigating it together, and that made all the difference. One day, while cleaning out the attic, I stumbled upon an old photo album. It was filled with pictures from our early years, our wedding, vacations, and everyday moments that had defined our life together. I brought it downstairs, and Lisa and I spent hours going through it, laughing and reminiscing about the good times. It was a powerful reminder of the love we had shared and the life we had built together. It made me realize that while the past held its share of pain, it also held beautiful memories worth fighting for. As we turned the pages, I felt a renewed sense of hope and determination to continue rebuilding our marriage. One evening, as we were getting ready for bed, Lisa turned to me and said, "Mike, I've been thinking a lot about our future. I know we've come a long way, but I want us to set some goals, things we can work towards together as a team." I nodded, appreciating her proactive approach. "I think that's a great idea. What did you have in mind?" We spent the next few hours discussing our goals, both as a couple and as individuals. We talked about the things we wanted to achieve, the places we wanted to visit, and the kind of life we wanted to build for ourselves and for Emma. It was a productive and hopeful conversation, and it gave us both a sense of direction and purpose. As the months passed, our relationship continued to improve. We celebrated small victories and navigated setbacks with grace and patience. There were still moments of doubt and fear, but there was also a growing sense of trust and connection. We were learning to forgive, to let go of the past, and to focus on the future. One day, while playing in the yard with Emma, Lisa and I shared a quiet moment. She looked at me with a smile and said, "Mike, I'm proud of us. We've come a long way, and I believe we're stronger for it." I smiled back, feeling a deep sense of gratitude and hope. "I believe that too, Lisa. We still have a long way to go, but I'm confident we can get there together." Our journey was far from over, but we were moving forward with renewed hope and determination. We had faced the darkest moments of our lives and come out the other side stronger and more united. The road ahead would undoubtedly have its challenges, but we were ready to face them together, one step at a time. As Lisa and I continued to rebuild our relationship, we discovered a deeper appreciation for each other. The shared pain and struggles had a way of bringing us closer, forging a stronger bond. There were still difficult days, but we were learning to navigate them with more patience and understanding. Emma's happiness was a constant source of motivation for both of us, reminding us of why we were working so hard to heal. One evening, after a particularly challenging therapy session, Lisa suggested we renew our vows. "Mike, I know we've been through so much, and I know we still have a long way to go, but I want to make a new commitment to you, a promise to move forward, to rebuild our lives together." The idea took me by surprise, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Renewing our vows could symbolize a fresh start, a new chapter in our lives. "I think that's a beautiful idea," I said, feeling a mixture of hope and nervousness. "Let's do it." We decided to keep the ceremony small and intimate, inviting only close family and friends. Josh, who had been my rock through the entire ordeal, offered to host the event in his backyard. It was a perfect location, filled with memories of happier times. The weeks leading up to the vow renewal were a whirlwind of planning and preparation. Emma was excited, helping us pick out flowers and decorations. Seeing her joy made all the hard work feel worthwhile. Lisa and I worked together, side by side, each step a reminder of our commitment to making things right. The day of the ceremony arrived, and as I stood in Josh's backyard, waiting for Lisa to walk down the makeshift aisle, I felt a mix of emotions. The past year had been a tumultuous journey, filled with pain, anger, and heartbreak, but it had also been a journey of growth, healing, and rediscovery. When Lisa appeared, looking radiant in a simple white dress, my heart swelled with love and gratitude. This was the woman I had chosen to spend my life with, and despite everything, I still wanted to build a future with her. As she walked towards me, I could see the same emotions reflected in her eyes, the pain of our past, but also the hope for our future. We stood together, holding hands, as we exchanged our vows. This time the promises felt deeper, more meaningful. We had been through the fire and come out the other side, scarred but stronger. Lisa, I promise to love you, to support you, and to work every day to rebuild our trust. I believe in us, in our future, and I am committed to making this marriage stronger than ever. Tears filled her eyes as she spoke her vows. Mike, I'm so sorry for the pain I caused. I promise to be honest, to communicate openly, and to never take our love for granted again. I am committed to earning your trust and to building a life filled with love and happiness. As we exchanged rings, there was a sense of closure and a new beginning. The past would always be a part of our story, but it didn't have to define our future. We kissed, sealing our vows, and the applause from our friends and family filled the air. It was a moment of pure joy and relief, a testament to the power of forgiveness and love. The reception was simple but filled with warmth and laughter. Josh made a heartfelt toast, expressing his admiration for our resilience and commitment to each other. I've seen you both at your lowest, and I am proud to see you standing here today, stronger and more united. Here's to new beginnings and a future filled with love and happiness. As the evening progressed, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. For the first time in a long while, I truly believed in the possibility of a happy future. Lisa and I danced under the stars, the music and laughter creating a perfect backdrop to our new beginning. Over the following months, life began to settle into a new rhythm. The vow renewal had been a significant milestone, but it was the daily efforts that truly made a difference. We continued our therapy sessions, both individually and together, ensuring that we addressed any lingering issues. Our communication improved, and we learned to support each other in ways we hadn't before. We also made a conscious effort to prioritize our relationship, carving out time for regular date nights and weekend getaways. These moments of connection were crucial, reminding us of the love and friendship that had brought us together in the first place. One Saturday morning, as we sat on the porch watching Emma play in the yard, Lisa turned to me with a thoughtful expression. Mike, I've been thinking, maybe we should start fresh in a new place, a new home where we can create new memories and leave the past behind. The idea was both daunting and exciting. Moving would be a significant change, but it could also be an opportunity to truly start over. I think that could be a great idea, I replied. Let's start looking for a new place. We began house hunting, involving Emma in the process. It was an exciting adventure, and each potential home represented a new chapter in our lives. After a few weeks, we found a charming house in a quiet neighborhood. It had everything we wanted, a big yard for Emma to play in, a cozy living room, and plenty of space for our growing family. Moving into our new home was a bittersweet experience. Packing up our old house brought back a flood of memories, both good and bad. But it also felt liberating, like shedding old skin and stepping into a new life. As we unpacked and settled into our new home, there was a sense of hope and possibility. Our new home quickly became a sanctuary, a place of healing and growth. We filled it with love, laughter, and new traditions. Emma thrived, making new friends and enjoying her new surroundings. Lisa and I continued to work on our relationship, building on the foundation we had created. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, I turned to Lisa and said, I love you. Thank you for fighting for us, for our family. She smiled, tears of happiness in her eyes. I love you too, Mike, and thank you for giving us another chance. I believe we have a beautiful future ahead. Our journey had been long and painful, but it had also been a journey of growth and rediscovery. We had faced our darkest moments and come out stronger on the other side. The road ahead was still uncertain, but we were ready to face it together, hand in hand. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly hopeful about our future. Settling into our new home brought a sense of renewal and possibility. It was more than just a physical change. It was a symbolic step towards a new chapter in our lives. Lisa and I were determined to create a life filled with love, trust, and happiness. The process was slow and often challenging, but each day brought us closer together. Our new neighborhood was welcoming, and we quickly made friends with our neighbors. Emma adjusted well to her new school, making new friends and thriving in the supportive environment. Seeing her so happy and settled gave Lisa and me the motivation to keep working on our relationship. One of the first projects we undertook in our new home was transforming the backyard into a family-friendly space. We built a swing set for Emma, planted a garden, and set up a cozy patio area where we could spend time together. Working on these projects side by side brought us closer, reminding us of the teamwork and cooperation that had once defined our relationship. One weekend, as we were planting flowers in the garden, Lisa turned to me with a smile. "Mike, this feels so good, building something beautiful together. It reminds me of why I fell in love with you." I smiled back, feeling a warmth in my heart. "Me too, Lisa. This is the life I want for us, working together, creating a happy home for Emma." Our new home became a place of healing and growth. We filled it with new traditions and happy memories. Sunday mornings were dedicated to family breakfasts, where we cooked together and enjoyed each other's company. Friday nights were reserved for family movie nights, complete with popcorn and cozy blankets. These simple routines brought us closer, creating a strong foundation for our future. As the months passed, our relationship continued to improve. We still had our challenges, but we faced them with a renewed sense of commitment and understanding. Our therapy sessions with Dr. Harper were instrumental in helping us navigate these challenges, providing us with the tools and strategies we needed to communicate effectively and resolve conflicts. One evening, after a particularly insightful therapy session, Lisa and I decided to take a walk around our neighborhood. The cool evening air was refreshing, and the quiet streets provided the perfect backdrop for our conversation. We talked about our hopes and dreams, our fears and insecurities. It was one of the most honest and heartfelt conversations we had ever had. "Mike, I've been thinking a lot about our future," Lisa said, her voice thoughtful. "I want to continue building this life with you. I know we've been through so much, but I believe we're stronger for it. I want to make new memories, to create a life filled with love and happiness." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for her words. "I feel the same way, Lisa. We've come a long way, and I believe we can build a beautiful future together. I'm committed to making this work, to being the best husband and father I can be." Our walks became a regular part of our routine, providing us with a quiet, intimate space to connect and reflect on our journey. These moments of connection were crucial, helping us strengthen our bond and reaffirm our commitment to each other. One day, while we were sitting on the porch watching Emma play in the yard, Lisa turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Mike, I've been thinking, maybe it's time we think about expanding our family. I know it's a big step, but I feel ready. I feel like we're in a good place, and I want to share this love with another child." Her words took me by surprise, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. We had come so far, and our relationship was stronger than ever. Bringing another child into our lives felt like a natural next step. "I think that's a wonderful idea," I said, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Let's do it." We began planning for the future, discussing our hopes and dreams for our growing family. It was an exciting and hopeful time, filled with anticipation and joy. The prospect of welcoming a new baby into our lives brought a renewed sense of purpose and direction. As the months passed, we continued to focus on our relationship and our family. We took trips together, celebrated milestones, and supported each other through the ups and downs of life. Our bond grew stronger, built on a foundation of trust, love, and mutual respect. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Lisa turned to me with a smile. "Mike, I'm so grateful for this life we've built together. We've been through so much, but I believe we're stronger for it. I love you, and I'm excited for our future." I looked at her, feeling a deep sense of love and gratitude. "I love you too, Lisa. And I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, the good and the bad. We've built something beautiful together, and I believe the best is yet to come." Our journey was far from over, but we were moving forward with hope and determination. We had faced our darkest moments and come out stronger on the other side. The road ahead would undoubtedly have its challenges, but we were ready to face them together, hand in hand. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly hopeful about our future. The following months were filled with anticipation and joy as we prepared for the arrival of our new baby. We decorated the nursery, bought baby clothes, and shared our excitement with family and friends. Emma was thrilled at the prospect of becoming a big sister, and her enthusiasm was infectious. As the due date approached, Lisa and I grew closer than ever. We leaned on each other for support, navigating the challenges of pregnancy and preparing for the changes that lay ahead. It was a time of growth and transformation, both individually and as a couple. One sunny afternoon, as we were setting up the crib in the nursery, Lisa turned to me with a smile. "Mike, I can't wait to meet our baby. This feels like the start of a new chapter, a fresh beginning for our family." I nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Me too, Lisa. We've come so far, and I believe we're ready for this. We're stronger together, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for us." When the day finally arrived, it was a whirlwind of emotions. Lisa went into labor early in the morning, and we rushed to the hospital, our hearts pounding with anticipation. The hours that followed were a blur of excitement, nervousness, and overwhelming joy. As I held our newborn son in my arms for the first time, tears filled my eyes. This tiny, perfect being was a symbol of our journey, a testament to our resilience and love. "Welcome to the world, little one," I whispered, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and awe. Lisa looked at me, her eyes filled with tears of happiness. "We did it, Mike. We made it through. I love you so much." "I love you too, Lisa," I replied, my voice choked with emotion. "Thank you for this incredible gift, for this beautiful life we've built together." Our new son brought a sense of completeness to our family, a reminder of the power of love and forgiveness. As we navigated the challenges and joys of parenthood once again, we did so with a renewed sense of purpose and commitment. Life was far from perfect, but it was filled with love, laughter, and hope. We had faced our darkest moments and come out stronger on the other side. The road ahead would undoubtedly have its challenges, but we were ready to face them together, hand in hand. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly hopeful about our future. Our journey had been long and painful, but it had also been a journey of growth and rediscovery. We had learned to forgive, to heal, and to love again. And as I looked at my family, Lisa, Emma, and our newborn son, I knew that we had created something beautiful and lasting. We had built a new life, one filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. Bringing our new son home marked a new chapter in our lives. It was a chapter filled with late-night feedings, diaper changes, and the sweet coos of a newborn. Amidst the chaos, there was an overwhelming sense of love and gratitude. Our family had weathered the storm, and we were stronger for it. Emma adored her baby brother, doting on him and helping whenever she could. Watching her embrace her role as a big sister filled me with pride. Lisa and I continued to work on our relationship, supporting each other through the sleepless nights and the joys of parenthood. One evening, as I rocked our son to sleep, I reflected on the journey that had brought us to this point. The pain and betrayal had been real, but so had the love and commitment that followed. We had faced our darkest moments and come out stronger, more united. As the weeks turned into months, we settled into our new routine. Our home was filled with laughter and love, the sound of Emma's giggles mingling with the baby's cries. Lisa and I continued to prioritize our relationship, finding moments of connection amidst the busyness of life. We celebrated milestones together, from our son's first smile to Emma's achievements at school. Each moment was a reminder of the beautiful life we were building, a testament to our resilience and love. One day, as we were playing in the yard with the kids, Lisa turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Mike, I've been thinking. Maybe we should start planning a family vacation. It would be a great way to create new memories and spend quality time together." I smiled, feeling a sense of excitement. "I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's do it." We started planning a trip to a cabin in the mountains, a place where we could relax and enjoy nature. The anticipation of the vacation brought a sense of excitement and hope, a reminder of the adventures that lay ahead. As the days passed, our bond grew stronger. We continued to support each other, finding joy in the simple moments and strength in our shared experiences. Our journey had been long and challenging, but it had also been filled with growth and love. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset, Lisa turned to me with a smile. "Mike, I'm so grateful for this life we've built together. We've been through so much, but we've come out stronger. I love you, and I'm excited for our future." I looked at her, feeling a deep sense of love and gratitude. "I love you too, Lisa, and I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, the good and the bad. We've built something beautiful together, and I believe the best is yet to come." Our vacation to the mountains was everything we had hoped for. The crisp air, the beautiful scenery, and the time spent together as a family were rejuvenating. We hiked, roasted marshmallows, and shared stories by the fire. It was a time of connection and reflection, a reminder of the strength of our bond. As we sat by the campfire on our last night, Lisa turned to me with a serious expression. "Mike, I've been thinking a lot about our journey and everything we've been through. I want to make a promise to you. A promise to always communicate, to always be honest, and to never take our love for granted." Her words touched me deeply. "I promise the same, Lisa. We've come so far, and I'm committed to continuing this journey with you, with honesty and love." As we toasted marshmallows and watched the stars twinkle above, I felt a deep sense of peace. Our journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been filled with growth and love. We had learned to forgive, to heal, and to love again. Returning home from the vacation, we carried with us a renewed sense of hope and commitment. Our lives were filled with new routines and old traditions, moments of joy and challenges that we faced together. We continued to support each other, to communicate openly, and to prioritize our relationship. One evening, as we were putting the kids to bed, Emma turned to me and asked, "Daddy, are you and Mommy happy?" I smiled, feeling a deep sense of love and gratitude. "Yes, sweetheart. Mommy and I are very happy. We've worked hard to build a life filled with love, and we're grateful for every moment." As I kissed her goodnight and tucked her in, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Our journey had been long and challenging, but it had also been filled with growth and love. We had built a beautiful life together, one filled with hope and endless possibilities. Lisa and I continued to navigate the ups and downs of life, supporting each other and finding joy in the simple moments. Our bond grew stronger with each passing day, a testament to our resilience and commitment. As we sat on the porch one evening watching the sunset, Lisa turned to me with a smile. "Mike, I believe we've created something truly special. We've faced our darkest moments and come out stronger. I love you, and I'm excited for the future." I looked at her, feeling a deep sense of love and gratitude. "I love you too, Lisa, and I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, the good and the bad. We've built something beautiful together, and I believe the best is yet to come." Our journey was far from over, but we were moving forward with hope and determination. We had faced our darkest moments and come out stronger on the other side. The road ahead would undoubtedly have its challenges, but we were ready to face them together, hand in hand. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly hopeful about our future. We continued to build our life together, creating new traditions and cherishing old ones. We celebrated birthdays, anniversaries, and everyday moments that made life special. Our home was filled with love, laughter, and the sounds of our growing family. One evening, as we were sitting by the fireplace, Lisa turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "Mike, I've been thinking, maybe we should start a journal, a way to document our journey, our hopes and our dreams, something we can look back on and see how far we've come." I nodded, appreciating the idea. "I think that's a wonderful idea. Let's do it." We started a journal, documenting our journey, our hopes, and our dreams. It became a source of reflection and inspiration, a reminder of the strength of our bond and the beauty of our journey. As we wrote in the journal one evening, Lisa turned to me with a smile. "Mike, I'm so grateful for this life we've built together. We've been through so much, but we've come out stronger. I love you, and I'm excited for our future." I looked at her, feeling a deep sense of love and gratitude. "I love you too, Lisa, and I'm grateful for every moment we've shared, the good and the bad. We've built something beautiful together, and I believe the best is yet to come." Our journey had been long and challenging, but it had also been filled with growth and love. We had learned to forgive, to heal, and to love again. And as I looked at my family, Lisa, Emma, and our son, I knew that we had created something beautiful and lasting. We had built a new life, one filled with love, hope, and endless possibilities. We embraced the future with open hearts, ready to face whatever challenges and joys lay ahead. Our journey was far from over, but we were moving forward together, hand in hand. And for the first time in a long while, I felt truly hopeful about our future.
Subscribe to the channel and share your impressions in the comments.